Hi there everyone, this is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth, and we got a lot of important information to cover in today's video, guys, so let's just jump right into it. Today we're going to take a look at this Russia-Ukraine war, Putin and Zelenskyy to meet in the next few weeks after signing peace deal. The deal includes a ceasefire and withdrawal of Russian troops if Kiev renounces its ambitions for membership of NATO and accepts limits on its armed forces. We're also going to take a look at this. Ukraine officially legalizes Bitcoin and other cryptos after Zelenskyy signs new law. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has enacted a law officially making cryptocurrencies legal in the besieged country. We're also going to take a look at just who Volodymyr Zelenskyy is. Where did he come from and how exactly did he get selected into the position of president of Ukraine. We're also going to take a quick look back at my work in 2016 on the Pandora and Panama Papers, which, interestingly enough, both named Putin and Zelenskyy essentially as enemies of the West for hiding their money from the oligarch, from having offshore accounts, and essentially for engaging in tax evasion. We're going to cover all of that and much more in today's video, guys. But before we do, I'd ask that you check me out right here at pressfortruth.ca/donate. Here's where you can make a one-time donation with PayPal. You can contribute Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. You can join me as a member of Subscribestar since I've recently been kicked off of Patreon. You can also sign up here for a monthly reoccurring contribution. Or you can send an e-transfer to dan@pressfortruth.ca, or if you prefer to keep it old school, you can always send cash or checks or simply just words of encouragement to my P.O. box. Once again, links for all of this are located in the description below. Thank you so much to everybody who has contributed to my efforts over the years to continuously bring you this information. I can't do this work without you. All right, guys, so let's just jump right into it. I want to start today's video by letting you know I got a copyright violation this morning for yesterday's video, and that one was titled Zelensky's No-Fly Zone War, Trudeau banned from entering Russia, and ending mask mandates is racist. Well, when I got the notification, I went to my email to take a look at what this was all about, and interestingly enough, I was prompted by this little ad here saying if you want to donate to Ukraine, Google will match your donation. When have we ever seen a major tech conglomerate or a company of this nature solicit donations for war? This is just pretty mind-boggling and an unprecedented move, in my opinion, that they would be soliciting donations for war. But it's interesting that this is coming in a time when Zelenskyy is currently legalizing cryptocurrencies and himself is accepting Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to help fund the war effort. As we see here, Ukraine officially legalizes Bitcoin and other cryptos after Zelenskyy signs new law. The new law, which received the president's signature on Wednesday, will allow foreign and Ukrainian crypto exchanges to operate legally in Ukraine, and what is being seen as a vital step to developing a legal market for virtual assets in the country. Moreover, the new law will also create a regulatory framework for an open crypto market in Ukraine for the first time, and I'm sure Bitcoin advocates and people who have been in the cryptocurrency space know that this really is just talk of regulation, not really an open crypto market in Ukraine, but really a regulated crypto market, a highly controlled crypto market. But the article goes on to explain just how much they've actually already solicited for the war. We scroll down here, it says, crypto, a lifeline for Ukraine's war. Following the beginning of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Zelensky's government had actively encouraged donations in a range of cryptocurrencies to help fund weapons for the embattled Ukrainian armed forces. In what is believed to be the first time crypto has ever been used in war setting of this scale, sympathizers from around the world had flooded the Ukrainian government with an estimated $100 million in crypto donations at the time of this publication. Many of the coins received in the main wallet run by the Ukrainian crypto exchange Kuna. On March 4th, Alex Bornikov, Deputy Minister of Digital Transformation, said that $15 million, or 13.5 million euro, from the donations received at the time, which were mainly sent in Bitcoin and Ether, had been spent on non-lethal military equipment, including bulletproof vests. And I just find it so interesting that everybody seems to be okay with this. Meanwhile, when the Freedom Convoy truckers in Canada raised $10 million for their very, very peaceful demonstration, governments were quick to ban that and confiscate the funds. And even when people went around that and said, you know what, whatever, we'll just use Bitcoin, the government went ahead and froze the Bitcoin wallets of any of the people who were going to be receiving donations for the trucker convoy. Now, a lot of people probably asking, how can you even do that? How can a bank or an institution freeze Bitcoin assets? You know, I thought that was the whole point of Bitcoin in the first place. And the answer is they can't. All they did there was they blacklisted some Bitcoin wallet addresses, and they went to the major exchanges and the major banking institutions, and they said, if these wallets try to transact with you, do not allow them to cash out. But I would imagine that most of those Bitcoin hodlers are savvy Bitcoin investors, and they would have many, many other ways of cashing out their Bitcoin other than going to an exchange or going to a bank or anything like that. So it's really a non-issue. And but again, there's a lot of hypocrisy in the world when it comes to these Bitcoin donations. You know, the media pundits often try to show it as funding crime, but then if it's funding war, that apparently is totally okay. Now, something else that's very interesting, I wanted to point into your direction, is the fact that the Pandora and the Panama Papers do mention Putin and Zelenskyy. Now, I did a couple of exposés on this, like way back in 2016. I put a lot of effort into it. They were like documentary-styled videos where I wrote a script. I, you know, read the narration. I put B-roll and music to it, and really put it together like a little doc. So I'll put a link to the first few ones in the description, but the follow-up one that I said, the Panama Papers, who's next, ended up being Zelenskyy. I wanted to air that for you today because it didn't get a whole heck of a lot of views back in 2016. I put a lot of effort into it, and it is relevant today. And in the previous video, the lead up to it, I explained how the Panama Papers were very much a bit of a limited hangout when it comes to exposing the likes of Putin and Zelenskyy. But it paints it the picture as if they are, you know, hardcore enemies of the West that the oligarchy is trying to take down. And in the video, I make the point that if these hackers who allegedly, you know, got this information were able to do so, if they were really interested in, you know, exposing corruption, maybe they could hack into some of the things that would actually do some damage in that area. So I put that into the video. I want to share that with you guys now. Check it out. Here's my my video called the Panama Papers, Who's Next, published back in 2016.
The International Consortium of Investigative Journalists is about to unleash a huge data dump about how some of the world's wealthiest and most powerful people hide their cash. The ICIJ says it will be the largest ever release of information about secret offshore companies and the people behind them, based on data from the Panama Papers. But as we've covered here before, the Panama Papers were likely an inside job because of the nature of the leaks. Like Snowden and Assange's controlled leaks, the Panama Papers didn't actually put a dent into the actions of the Western elites. Of course, Britain's Prime Minister David Cameron was targeted, and as with Snowden, the NSA's surveillance was exposed. But any real threat to the status quo has been lacking, and it is likely this coming data dump by the ICIJ will target enemies of the West. Consider that intelligence agencies like the FBI have hired hackers to work for them. The last thing Western elites want are young hackers working for foreign governments or disrupting the status quo for their own personal reasons. if there was a real hack that did not involve controlled leaks, then we would likely get some 9/11 truth. Instead of having a trial by media for the Icelandic Prime Minister who stood up to the globalist banks, the world could learn about the Bush and Cheney connection to 9/11. If there are any real hackers out there who have yet to be compromised, there is a real goal worth striving for. While the Panama Papers do expose some actual criminals who deserve it, they also target honest businessmen just trying to hide their wealth from parasitical, tax-addicted governments. But what about shining a light on the truth behind 9/11? Or publishing the minutes of the Bilderberg meetings, a group of the world's wealthiest and most powerful meeting behind closed doors, with media but off record? Is that not worth exposing? Instead of exposing Jose Soria and Prime Minister David Gunlausen, how about David Rockefeller and Jacob Rothschild? Why not go after the real criminals of this new world order? Although the Panama Papers, as well as Snowden and Assange's leaks, include limited hangouts of truth, there is common sense in being weary of information that does not go right to the source. Where did this information come from? What parties are they funded by? And do they have their own agenda? We here at Press for Truth call on all the real hackers out there who have not been bought, have not sold out, and are not working for the enemy to join us in our cause to shine a light on the true cockroaches of this fascist system.
So, as you can see, they were seemingly put on the chopping block as being enemies of the oligarchy in the West. And interestingly enough, when it comes to Volodymyr Zelensky's past and how he actually came to power, very, very interesting. I mean, most people probably know he was in entertainment. He was essentially a famous comedian over there. But what you may not know is that he eventually starred as a star in a TV show, playing the role as a teacher who went on a rant, and a student filmed it secretly, put it on the internet, and it went viral, and they end up electing him as president of Ukraine. So this fictional TV show from years ago, starring Zelensky himself, had him playing the part as the president of Ukraine, and the character in the show is famously anti-oligarchy. He's anti-establishment. He's that, you know, president for the people. Well, the lines between fact and fiction started to get very, very blurry once the show ended, because all of a sudden the actor announced that he was going to be running for president of Ukraine, and most people just thought it was a joke. They were like, are you for real? Like, you just played the role on TV as the president of Ukraine, and now you're actually running? And he was like, no, I'm very serious about this. People then started accusing him of being a puppet of some of the billionaires who control the TV networks out there, who were putting him in that position. And as I was doing all the research into the background of this, I was going to compile a short little 2 or 3 minute montage of clips of Volodymyr Zelensky playing the role as president on the TV show, and kind of explain a bit of the backstory there. But then I came across a 2 or 3 minute montage that was put together by the BBC, which pretty much put together everything I was going to probably take 3 or 4 hours to do today. So I'm just going to go ahead and air that one for you guys today so you can get the gist of it. This was put out in 2019, I believe a few months before he became president, a BBC piece which outlined the fact that it went from, you know, fiction to reality in the matter of months. And it seems like the Ukrainian people and the people of the world have been conditioned for this man to be their president. Check out this little expose from, what is it, 3 or 4 years ago from the BBC.
Здрасте.
Василий Петрович Голобородько?
Да.
Доброе утро, господин президент.
Илья, как дела? Серьезный день, ребята. Как настроение? Класс? Це не фейк, і я дуже серйозно відношусь до нашої країни, до життя кожної людини.
И вот здесь, понимаешь, теперь, они заставляют детей в будки ваши строить. Знаешь, почему у нас жизнь собачья? Да потому что мы свой выбор с тобой начинаем в будках. Понятно? А выбирать-то не из кого. Из двух пи***расов выбираем меньше. И так 25 лет подряд. Ты знаешь, что интересно? Да, при решении этого вопроса будет учитываться специфика. Уважаемые журналисты, я прошу прощения, я не готов к этой пресс-конференции. Как совместить физкультуру, спорт, если хотите, изучение украинского мовы. Первая причина, конечно же, они хотели бы видеть в президентах такого человека, как Василий Голобородько, с такими, самое главное, моральными ценностями. А второе, конечно же, это ответ всему политическому истеблишменту. Люди хотят что-то новое.
А я тут ни при чем. Перестаньте. Мы же все понимаем, что это твой человек.
Нет, я был уверен, что Голобородько – это твой человек.
Ясно. Если не твой, не мой, значит, это человек Рустема Ашотовича.
Господа, клянусь, я не имею к Голобородько никакого...
Много всего нового научиться. Посмотреть, как дышит собака.
Я обіцяю вам піти в президенти України. І одразу виконую. Я іду в президенти України. Давайте зробимо це разом. З Новим роком.
Для того, щоб Україна була об'єднана, щоб Україна була захищена, щоб безпека України не ставилася під питання. Прийшли до висновку, що цілісність України і єдність...
Я никакая не игрушка в руках Коломойской. Не был бы игрушкой, честно говоря, в руках ни одного из этих людей.
If you're a man of principles,
Yes.
why are you working for a man who the anti-corruption authorities say has stolen all this money from the people of this country?
Все каналы у нас принадлежат олигархам. Все крупные предприятия принадлежат этим группам. Получается, что мы все люди в Украине, 40 миллионов людей без принципов, мы все работаем на этих предприятиях.
Или теперь весь юмор будет про меня? Да?
Про вас.
Какие вы сволочи.
So, pretty interesting background to say the least. It does seem like he is in the pocket and the control of the elite and has indeed been selected for that position. And now we're hearing talks between himself and Putin of potential ceasefire, potential new peace treaty. Well, let's take a quick look at that, guys. Russia-Ukraine war, Putin and Zelenskyy to meet in the next few weeks after signing peace deal. The deal includes a ceasefire and withdrawal of Russian troops if Kiev renounces its ambitions for membership of NATO and accepts limits on its armed forces. A meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is likely to take place in the next few weeks. Ukrainian President advisor Mikhailo Podolak said on Thursday, according to reports, Russia and Ukraine are drawing up a tentative peace plan to conclude the war. The deal includes a ceasefire and a withdrawal of Russian troops if Kiev renounces its ambitions for membership of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and accepts limits on its armed forces, the Kiev Independent reported. The meeting between Putin and Zelenskyy could take place on once this peace treaty is finalized. And so, you know, that begs the question as to when and if this is actually going to happen, but I'm certainly going to pay very, very close attention to this new development moving forward, guys. So be sure to stay with me here, and I want to just encourage you guys to continue to like the videos, share the videos, click that thumbs up, leave the comments. It really does help to spread this type of information, which, as we see, the likes of Google, who own, you know, YouTube and a whole bunch of other video sharing platforms, are essentially, you know, in bed with the oligarch. And again, don't, you know, I had to mention this in my video the other day, guys, don't get me wrong. I'm not taking sides here. You know, I'm certainly not pro-Putin. I'm certainly not pro-Zelenskyy either. As I mentioned in my video the other day, there is proof that both of these entities are essentially being controlled by the banking dynasties who have funded and armed both sides of this conflict. And so I'm not standing with either side. I'm just trying to show you there's a lot more to the picture that meets the eye from what you're seeing from the mainstream media. I can't even watch it anymore. It's just the brainwashing and the conditioning is so thick. You don't even realize, you know, the damage that it's doing to you. And you may start spewing talking points to your friends and family members over the dinner table that are not even your own talking points or thoughts. They're coming directly from the establishment itself through these media talking heads. So just, guys, turn the TV off. There's so much disinformation going on out there in regards to what's happening in Ukraine. I want to encourage you to watch my last 3 videos on my coverage since I have been back in BC for my trip to Ottawa. And I'm gonna, as I said, continue to cover this as this new peace treaty may or may not be signed, but I will be on top of it for you guys. Be sure to tune back in for updates on that. I want to remind you once again, if you do appreciate my efforts to continuously bring you this information, don't forget to check me out at pressfortruth.ca/donate. Thank you so much to anybody who has contributed to my cause over the years. It's greatly appreciated. And if you have yet to do that, once again, check the links in the description below. That's all for today, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.